Joining us now, Congressman Drew Ferguson from House Ways and Means, along with former White House Deputy Chief of Staff. He's Karl Rove. It's such a pleasure to have both of you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you both. Okay, Congressman, first take this on. Jared Bernstein, he's a member of the President's Council of Economic Advisors. Congressman, he said, quote, the president did not miss much on inflation. Your response?
He missed everything on inflation. And the impact on American families is devastating. American families are struggling to find food, to pay for food. The fuel prices are through the roof. And I think every single bit of pain that middle-class Americans, really Americans of all income classes, are feeling right now can go back to the president's decisions to destroy the American energy industry. That is where all of this starts. And it's having a profound effect. And why he continues to double down on the policies that are hurting Americans is beyond me.
You know, to the congressman's point, Karl, who's in charge of the White House?
You know, I don't know. Supposedly the president, but look, this is not a problem of who's in charge. We know who's ultimately in charge. It's him, and he's responsible for the actions of the people underneath him. And they perpetuate this myth that this inflation issue is all because of Ukraine. Let's take a quick look at the numbers. January of 21, when President Biden came into office, inflation was running at 1.4% a year. By January 2022, 7.48%, and by May, 8.582% inflation. That means that 84% of the difference between January and today occurs before, a month before, Ukraine is ever invaded by Putin. So the idea that this is somehow related to what is happening in Russia, primarily related to that, is just completely bogus. And why the administration continues to perpetuate this, it's due to their policies of overspending, of pumping too much demand into the economy. So inflation, the classic definition, is too much money chasing too few goods. And that's exactly what happened because of their policy.
Yeah, they threw a lot of hot money into a locked-up economy after the Democrat shutdowns destroyed 22 million jobs, and then the supply chains were broken, China, Ukraine, all of that. You know, Congressman, to Karl's point, Americans, Wall Street, they're really afraid there's no end in sight to rising inflation. It can't just be that recession will stop inflation. The Democrat thought experiment policies in academia, they're broken. Then the New York Times, a brutal report that's an opening salvo. 50 anonymous Democrat officials, nearly 50 of them, say Biden should not run again. Let's listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on this.
You know, if the president chooses to run again in 2024, I mean, first of all, I'm focused on winning this majority right now and preserving a majority this year in 2022. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think if the president has a vision, and that's something certainly we're all willing to entertain and examine when the time comes.
That's not a yes.
Yeah, you know, I think we should endorse when we get to it. But I believe that the president has been doing a very good job so far. And you know, should he run again? I think that I think we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Congressman, who does the left want? Because Biden is doing everything the left wanted.
So, you know, the fact that they don't like Biden tells me they want to go even further to the left. And many of the Democrats here on Capitol Hill don't feel like that Biden has gone far enough to the left. And these policies that are hurting American families so much, they want to double and triple down on, and they want to go faster. Look, the one thing that I can say right now, we're focused on winning the majority in the midterms. America is asking for this craziness to stop, and we're going to take the majority in the House of Representatives, and we're going to stop this slide. But in the end, this far movement to the left has got to come to an end because it is destroying the American dream, American families, and we see families that are hurting way too much.
Right, we got reports, Karl, that Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, Tom Cotton, they're talking about running in 2024. We also have this, former top official for Obama, he's David Axelrod. He says Biden's age is going to be a major issue, Karl. David Gergen has said the same thing. Americans are feeling that the nation is being run by people who should have retired already. We're fighting old blood feuds that date back generations.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, for over a year, I've been saying Biden will not be the Democratic nominee in 2024. Think about this. He was 78 at the time of his inauguration. He was older than Ronald Reagan was when Reagan left office as the oldest person to ever serve as president, 77. Biden would be 82 in 2024. They're not going to nominate an 82-year-old to take on the terribly demanding job of president again when he's already got difficulty stringing together two sentences. So he's not going to be the nominee. And let's not kid ourselves. And in all likelihood, neither is it going to be Kamala Harris, who's been an utter disaster as vice president. They're not going to nominate her and her cackle to be the nominee of the Democratic Party. We're going to see a wide open contest on that side, of my opinion.
Carl, let me just stay with you, Congressman. I'll come back to you in a second if we have time. The thought experiment, Carl, about shutting down the U.S., right? National Bureau of Economic Research, they're the esteemed nonpartisan shop. They found 170,000 excess deaths from the pandemic that people didn't need to die. They found excess deaths among young Americans because of the shutdowns, locking up people and infecting each other inside. NBER reports Sweden didn't do this. Sweden avoided these unnecessary deaths. Locking people up inside, shutting down the economy, and then throwing hot money in the economy. Americans are suffering from these dumb policies all through D.C.
We'll be suffering for years to come. Take a look at what has happened to an entire generation of students who are forced out of the classroom and into their bedrooms with doing classes virtually. We know that they're falling behind on basic skills, reading, writing, and math. We understand the problems of socialization, and we're going to see this for decades to come because their quality of life and their standard of living has been severely repressed as a result of these policies.
And final word, Congressman. Now the president's saying he's going to take charge of inflation. Congressman, he and his team have been saying inflation has been transitory and won't stick around. So how do they get it so wrong? The White House, the Democrats, the media. We have, reports out of Axios, Fortune magazine, on, Business Insider, that inflation was going to be going away.
Look, I don't think you can screw it up this bad unless you're trying to screw it up this bad. That is what it seems like this administration is doing, is that it's purposeful. They got it wrong. American families are hurting. It's time to change direction and course.
And you know what? Who's saving them is Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, guys, for saying no to more spending. You should give them a round of applause. Thank you, Congressman Drew Ferguson and Karl Rove. It's good to see you.